For 18 years, Kashmir has been like a war zone. Civilians have faced harassment and violence from the Indian Army, and thousands of young men and women have just disappeared, picked up by security forces and never seen again.
What happened to them? How are their families coping? And what is government doing about it? Over the next 30 minutes, we try to search some of these answers, even as we look at new evidence to show how Kashmir's missing generation may lie buried here in these nameless graves.
Kashmir is a land with many secrets, and for the last 6 years, Ata Muhammad Khan has kept a very difficult one. One night in 2002, this maize farmer was summoned from his home in a tiny village in Baramulla by a local policeman. Khan was shown the bodies of two men who had been shot dead. He was told they were militants and he would have to bury them.
लगभग 10 बजे का टाइम था। खून साफ किया, होठों से, आंखों से, नाक से, बाल इसके साफ किए, चेहरा इसका मैंने सामने लाया, मुंह का, और खून उलूदा था, मेरे कपड़े भी भरे गए, जिस्म भी भरा गया, तो मैंने इसको जनाजा किया, तो दफना दिया 2002 से। तब से फिर दिन को भी आते थे, 4 बजे भी आते थे, रात के 11 बजे भी आते थे।
Since that day, Khan says, he's laid to rest over 200 people in this makeshift graveyard in Chahal Bimyar. Mounds of earth and a few stones are all that point to where someone lies buried here. Nothing identifies the dead. Some are barely graves, just holes in the ground, now lying exposed by rain and snow. Khan says he's even been forced at times to bury two people in the same grave.
कोई दिनों में हमको टाइम नहीं मिलता था, वहाँ डेड बॉडी पड़ी रहती थी, एक को दफन करते पीछे से और 4 आ जाती थी, इतना भी हुआ। बेदर्दी से मारा है, बेदर्दी, बहुत बेदर्दी से मारा है। हम बोलते भाई कौन आदमी है, ये उग्रवादी है, ये अफगानी है। अब हम क्या कह सकते हैं कौन है, हमने देखे नहीं है उग्रवादी कैसे हैं तो अफगानी कैसे हैं।
In 2003, Khan's nephew went missing while on a trip to Baramulla. Khan joined his relatives in a desperate hunt, but while he was gone, he says, the army brought 6 bodies in a truck, which were buried by some villagers.
किसी ने बोला मुझे आपका भांजा भी इसमें था, तो मैंने कहा भाई क्या पता, अब वो दफनाया गया, मैं उसकी कब्र खोल नहीं सकता, इसमें है या और किसी जगह, हो सकता है इधर ही हो।
Only 6 of the graves here bear tombstones. They've all been put up by families who came looking for their dead and dug up the graves to identify them. 2 years back, Khan told the army and the police the graveyard was full and nobody else could be buried. The bodies stopped coming. The families didn't.
यहाँ पर गायबाना जनाजे पड़े, 5-8 बार आए लोग, अब ना मालूम थे बेचारे, उनको क्या पता कहीं इधर का उधर है, उधर का इधर है, क्या पता, कोई नहीं पता।
Across Baramulla district in North Kashmir, many villages like Chahal Bimyar are out of bounds for civilian visitors because of their proximity to the line of control. Human rights activists say it's in villages like these that the police and the army hide their kills.
The plea of the police and the army, they're unclaimed bodies, meaning that they want to give the impression they are the foreign militants. You also have to relate this thing with the phenomenon of the disappearance in the valley.
At least 4,000 people have officially gone missing in Kashmir since 1989, and the APDP, or Association of Parents of Disappeared Persons, says nearly 1,000 of them could lie buried in the unmarked graves it's discovered in just 3 tehsils in Baramulla.
We are only saying that you have no police record, because normally if somebody is buried, his photograph is to be there, and under which circumstances he was killed, what we call the FIR, that should be there. There's nothing.
One of Kashmir's most infamous encounter killings took place here near the Saura police station in Srinagar. In June 1999, 3 men returning from a wedding party were intercepted by policemen near the station. Days later, the bodies of 2 of them were found buried at Kichama near Baramulla. Among them was Nazir Ahmed's brother Javed.
8 दिन के बाद हमको मतलब टालते रहे, आज देंगे कल देंगे कल देंगे। 8 दिन के बाद हमने वहां से फिर लाशें निकाली और अपने मजार में वो दफन किया। हम यही कहते हैं गवर्नमेंट से, इसको पकड़ो, इसको सजा दो। अगर गवर्नमेंट चाहे, इसमें कोई टाइम नहीं है, गवर्नमेंट चाहे विदिन कुछ मिनट में हो जाएगा, ये कुछ घंटों में हो जाएगा, कुछ दिनों में हो जाएगा।
For the family, Javed continues to live on these blank walls even after 9 years of his death. As memories would often rush in, the family decided to hide all his belongings, especially from these two kids. Nazir says it was imperative because they wanted to avoid shadow of the past and to start a normal life.
In April, the APDP released a report which identified over a dozen villages around the town of Uri which had unmarked graves. Since then, international rights groups like Human Rights Watch and Amnesty International have called for an investigation into the graves. But the police say they have already looked into all reported disappearances and they will not try to identify the bodies. The parents of the disappeared people say they will continue to build pressure for an international probe into the mass graves. And key to future action is public anger. But in Baramulla, 6 years after he first buried a stranger, an old man is still coming to terms with what he's done.
बस वो ही सीन आ जाता है हमारे सामने, खून है, कफन पहना है, खून चल रहा है, खून बह रहा है, कान से बह रहा है, छाती से बह रहा है, टांग से बह रहा है, खून चल रहा है। इनकी न शक्ल, इनकी जवानी, इनका चेहरा देखकर हमको नींद भी नहीं आ रही थी।